Good morning. I was just doing random coffee talk this morning. Um, I really don't have anything particularly compelling to talk about this morning. I woke up and it was just like another day, another, was it Idle Thursday? Did I get the day right? Otherwise known as Friday. I've called Thursday Friday in the past. How are you? Dialing code. How are you? I'm good. I'm good. Y'all are waking up. Mm, that's very good. So let's just, what do I do in the morning? I check my news and stuff like that. Um, and a little bit of Twitter sometimes. I don't engage with Twitter. Hey, Ixie, how are you? But usually I do head over to Twitter to see if there's like anything really big that's happened. Like, Twitter's not a good thing to do in the morning because you'll hate yourself by the end of it. But sometimes there's stuff happening. I don't do split keyboards. No. No, that's a good question, but I don't do split keywords. Um, I kind of think they're stupid, honestly. I don't think the people that use them are stupid. I just think split keyboards are stupid. You want to know why? I'll try to stay positive. And most of the time, people use a split keyboard because they're trying to be more ergonomic and stuff, but they're using a mechanical keyboard that already, by definition, is not ergonomic. And I lived through the era of carpal tunnel when keyboards were first invented in, the late 80s and the early 90s. I knew people in their 20s that were getting carpal tunnel in the 90s. And that was all because of mechanical keyboards. And so the industry answered that. That's why I use a Mac keyboard. I use the number one keyboard used by journalists and writers and authors, people who type way more than developers. And the low profile and things like that turned out to be much less uh, of a pain for people's wrists and stuff. And so that's my position on that. And so they actually had a decline in carpal tunnel after that. And of course, I use VI for the whole reason of a decline in carpal tunnel as well, because anytime you have to go back and forth to the mouse all the time, you're gonna get carpal tunnel. And so yeah, and that's why I use it. I mean, you gotta understand. I learned to type on a Royal typewriter with you had to push the keys all the way down. Talk about carpal tunnel. Oh my God, you get like really strong forearms. Um, and so my theory is, and I don't have anything to back this up, but my theory is, cheapo mesh keyboard. Yeah, my theory is that the rise of these ergonomic keyboards, which we tried already, by the way, the whole world tried ergonomic keyboards back in the 90s. Um, and, you know, we kind of it's funny because it's kind of coming full circle back. This obsession with mechanical keyboards that you can customize and that have a particular sound and everything is super interesting to me. It's like the gaming generation kind of brought about um, something, and that I'm part of that, right? So Gen X is the first gaming generation, period. Um, yeah, a touchscreen keyboard is the most ergonomic. I don't think so. Because well, touchscreen, yes and no. I mean, the problem with a touchscreen keyboard is you don't have any feedback, in my opinion. Right? You need at least a minimal amount of feedback, and you got to understand, I was a huge mechanical keyboard fan before I got into low profile keyboards from the Mac and stuff, and I hate butterfly keys, by the way. I don't like the click clack. And then the other thing you have to know about me is that uh, I absolutely hate keyboard noise. There's Twitch streamers who will put a mic on their keyboard because of the ASMR effect of the keyboard, and it just makes me so stressed. I just can't watch it. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. I'm not judging you, but I actually own earplugs because I hate um you know I hate when I'm focusing on coding and developing and stuff like that. I hate any noise. I hate fan noise. I hate music. I don't want anything. I just want to when I really really want to focus. I completely shut out any sensory input whatsoever, so I can really really get into my head. And I used to make a joke. It's like if I was working in one of these, standing. This is a standing desk, but if I was working at one of these like completely unscientific standing desk, open offices, open floor plan, and my neighbor had a mechanical keyboard, I would beat him to death with it because for like 1 minute, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So it's like people have their own things, and I'm not judging you if you like the sound. That's awesome, and I do sometimes every once in a while. I actually tried one. I bought like a really expensive um I want to say steel stream keyboard, and I have it somewhere. You know what's funny? That big fancy mechanical keyboard broke within 6 months. Yeah, it's like the thing weighs like 10 pounds or something, and it broke. It broke. These like these Mac keyboards, and I have a lot of them. There's two here. You can see some. There's some more of them over here. I have like 15 of these Mac keyboards because I ran to school and everything, and I'm like stocking them up because they're my favorite one. They've never made it again because it's got the low profile keys, but they're sort of squishy, but not all the way, and they're not butterfly keys. I cannot stand butterfly keys. I can't. My MacBook Pro has that. Both of my MacBook Pros have that, and my one for work and my one for personal. And I absolutely hate butterfly keys. So I mean, people think I've got two heads when I say these things on Twitch, because you saw a dude on Twitch recently buy like a $600 or $700 keyboard that you build yourself. I mean, whatever makes you happy, but my God, that does not make me happy. Yeah, but I suggested to split the keyboard. No, there's no way I'll ever try a split keyboard. No, so you probably know this about me, but and things have changed, thank God. Okay, so I have to kind of talk about what I'm saying here. So there was a time, when computers first came out, that you used the keyboard that the computer had, right? And I mean, if you go back long enough, in college or whatever, first of all, you didn't have access to a keyboard at all of your own. And if you did, it was like on a Commodore or on an Atari 800. Atari 400, by the way, was a membrane keyboard because they were so cheap they didn't even want to put a keyboard with actual keys in it. And then and I had an Atari 800 or a Commodore or a TI. I mean, if you go back far enough, and a lot of you are so young you won't remember this, but you got the keyboard you were given, and you didn't have a chance to change the keyboard, so you just got used to it. So there was this idea that the computer was a part, the keyboard was a part of the computer, and if you would buy a different computer if you wanted a different keyboard. And for a long time, even with the IBM stuff, I mean, you got to give IBM credit here because IBM, I think, no, yeah, it was IBM. Mac did it too. So I'm thinking back, but they're the first ones who separated the keyboard from. The only time Rob will try to split keyboard is when he splits his neighbor's mechanical keyboard in half, maybe. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, okay. So let's finish this history here. So there was a time it was built in, and then they separated it out. If you go back long enough, and God, I mean, does anybody remember? I don't know if anybody does remember this, but if you could go back and see, let's see if I can go find one on the internet. IBM, keyboard. These original IBM keyboards were so heavy. I mean, they weighed like 10 or 20 pounds. They were like behemoths. Look at this thing, man. It's like so big. It's, oh, hey, look, you can buy an original IBM keyboard for $429. I mean, this is like, yeah, a lot of people, they do like how big and substantial they were, and they couldn't move and anything. And yeah, I did like the fact that, you had to adjust your body position to the keyboard because, God help you. And there was no landing pad. There was no place to put your hands. You had to have it on a table, and I have memories of using them in the library at university and stuff like that. Uh, yeah, remakes of these. Oh, they've remade this keyboard a lot. Uh huh. Yeah, and so um, and I mean, this thing was a monster, right? It was like, oh, look at that IBM Model M keyboard. Oh, he actually made a video about it. Linus made a video about the original keyboard. Yeah, because those things matter, I guess. I don't know. So anyway, and then IBM and then Mac had a keyboard, right? The Mac keyboard from the '90s, those early keyboards. I mean, here's the chiclet ones. I hate those. Um, and that's not an actual keyboard. That's a knockoff of it. It's a black one because nobody. I don't like the white color, but whatever. And build one of the new IBM keyboards. Yeah. So the reason I'm telling you this big history about keyboards is because once upon a time, uh, you know, the keyboard was what came with it, and then they gradually separated it out so you could swap out keyboards, and there's the oh god, look at that. There's the Mac keyboard, dust keyboard, mechanical keyboard from the Mac. God, look at how horrible that thing was. And I mean, that was the first time you could actually swap it out. But the keyboards had look at the plug-in adapter. It's got like the same plug that you would have for like an audio board or a guitar or something. There was no commonality between keyboard. There was no such thing as USB. Eventually, they came up and they said, okay, we're gonna make them all serial. What is that? That's a USB adapter. So um, and so yeah, they changed it, and for God, I don't know how long it took them, but finally, I think the original serial mouse and serial keyboard, you could finally interchange keyboards, and that was the real dawn of the keyboard sort of revolution. I mean, I remember that was got to be, I'm going to say it was probably 95, 96, 94. Um, you can buy a modern one with black keys, an actual one. Yeah, but I don't want the chiclet one. I want the one before that. And anyway, and then you have the layouts that are different and everything. So the reason I tell you this history is because the way I was raised, you didn't. Hey, how's it going, Hardik? You couldn't pick your own keyboard. That was never a thing. And so you got used to the keyboard that was there, and you liked it. You know. And if you wanted to buy, even if you bought your own computer, you still had to use the keyboard. And laptops weren't even a thing until, God, I want to say 94, 95, really. I mean, they were just so crazy expensive and big and everything. And then laptops are insane now, I mean, compared to what they used to be. Mostly because I believe because of monitor technology. I think the monitor technology is really what took laptops up a notch. Anyway, so, and then, there was a huge laptop craze. So people were getting carpal tunnel on these old keyboards that they couldn't change, the mechanical ones. And then there was kind of I think a consumer driven desire to get more flexible with keyboards. And so I would say I would probably say about 94, 95, 96, sometime in there. That was when the keyboard boom happened. Everybody was trying a new keyboard. People, like I told you, my 20-year-old friend had carpal tunnel surgery when she was 20, 22, 24, because she had been, typing all the time. She's a technologist and a writer. Actually, she was a writer and a technologist. So, she had a double dose of like all the bad things that come with mechanical keyboards. And oh, is that the one that's the no keys? Yeah, here's another one of these split keyboards. So I'm looking at a ultimate hacking keyboard. Yeah, I don't buy it at all. Um, yeah, yeah, it's cool. So, and the whole idea is that it keeps your wrist straight. But you know what? My wrists are pretty straight when I'm using this keyboard, right? When I'm using my Mac keyboard, my wrists are straight. They are. You know why? Because I don't have a lot of travel for the keys. I don't think people have properly addressed the difficulty of travel. So you might like the sound and everything, but there's enough travel. I mean, it's not that much, I know, but there's enough travel on the keys that forces you to. I mean, they always, whenever they tell you about a hermeneutical keyboard, they show somebody doing this with their hands. They show somebody like really really craning, cranking their hands. I've never done that, and to adapt for that, I suck my elbows in close to my body, and I code from this position, which some people might consider uncomfortable. It does put a strain on your shoulders because your arms are hanging down. They're not resting on anything. A lot of these ergonomic keyboards, usually they'll show people with an armrest or something, and their arms are like at a far angle like this. And like I watch people using ergonomic keyboards, on Twitch, and they're like this. They're like a bodybuilder posing, like about to do like a most muscular pose, that one that you know, and they got their hands like, and their elbows are way out, and I have adapted to having my arms, you know, my arms in close to my body, and so I have no angle. There is no angle, but it makes me look like I'm trying to be a Tyrannosaurus Rex or something, because my elbows are in tight to my body, and I'm like, but there's no angle in my wrist. So every time I see this thing with the angle in the wrist thing, and by the way, I didn't ever consciously think to do this. This is just something I've started to do over time. And the other thing too is that there's no travel, and I can rest my hands on the table, right? This is another thing that we were not doing before, right? We were not resting our arms on anything. And so if you suck your elbows in and you have a low table, you have a table that's low enough that you have to arch your hands, you're screwed. I mean, if you have to arch you go up, so I have it nice and low. That's why laptops are so popular, right? And then my wrists are completely at rest on the table. And so my fingers are free to do stuff when I'm like right here on the keyboard. Now I have small fingers, so I can't hit the numbers as well as others, but whatever. It also makes me not a very good gamer. Dendi he played Dota 2. He's a concert pianist as well. He's got huge fingers and really fast response time. He's great Dota 2 center mid player. But so yeah, the reason I'm telling you the history is, first of all, we did the mechanical thing and we didn't have any choice, right? We got used to it. We fixed that, and then we started having choice, and we got to get different keyboards, and there was a lot of evolution in that. And then I would suggest you fast forward to the age of gaming. Type from Lotus Position. Oh hell yeah, yeah. Lotus Position is so good for you. If you can sit not in full Lotus but in half or something, if you can sit in half Lotus, and I regularly. You can't see it, but I sit in my chair. I don't have to take all the arms off, and I sit in my chair. I wish I could go all the way to the ground. I've tried it. This particular table doesn't go all the way to the ground. But sitting in Lotus Position, I've seen people game in Lotus Position, because it's a natural position for sitting. You have to have the flexibility for it. If you're a Westerner, from America or Europe, you're a good chance you're not going to be able to just sit in half Lotus for any amount of time, because it'll be very taxing. But when you do it, it forces you to engage your lower abs, your root chakra, they say, and stuff like that. And it's very healthy, and it gives you a nice straight back posture. Most of the time when I see these gamers, and they're like slouching in their gaming chair, and I've tried a gaming chair, I could not do it. Full Lotus is tremendous pressure on the knees. So don't stress your knees. You should not sit in Lotus unless you can naturally sit there without you shouldn't have to move it with anything with your hands. They say you're supposed to be able to just move your hands there. COVID, gaming in Lotus, COVID revelation. Yeah. So it's such nice but expensive. I don't know what that is. I'll have to go look at that. But so we went through the whole how to use this keyboard flexibility. We went through the mechanical keyboard carpal tunnel phase in the 90s. And then you could probably fast forward to like 2000, 2001 or 2, and we started to have the gaming revolution. I mean, we were gaming in the 90s, but not nearly like we were gaming in 2000 and 2001. I mean, I think you could probably credit, Quake probably. I think Quake was probably the first game that really, really changed performance for keyboards. That was the first time that, I mean, I would venture to say that Quake was the first game that people played competitively where their keyboard was now, yeah, was, I mean, Doom came before that, but it wasn't competitive. Quake, I think, was probably the first seriously competitive, uh, high performance game that really slammed your keyboard. And people were destroying their keyboards, because playing Quake. I mean, they were the keys just couldn't take it. I mean, not only did they rub off the stuff, but they're it's really really intense wear on mechanical keyboards. And so, gamer industry answered and they said, okay, we're going to make a gamer keyboard. And so then you started to get gamer keyboards that were, shamelessly about gaming, that had different letters on them. It was almost like that was a rebellion. It was like, you know what, we're going to make a keyboard that has nothing to do with work. We're going to make a keyboard that is just fun, that's designed to slam the crap out of it, that's not productive, it's not designed for writing and all this stuff. You're not getting forced to use it. And all the gamers were like, hell yeah. It was like a nod to gaming that, yeah, you matter, actually. And they just exploded on the scene. They exploded on the scene. And then all of a sudden, everybody's got a competitive game keyboard. And, fast forward to 2022, and not only are gaming keyboard, did the gaming movement open up the flexibility and the artistic expression of of keyboards and users, but after COVID, yeah, that'd be cool. So, but after COVID finally, this is my opinion. COVID finally solidified, because of the germ thing, finally solidified the bring your own keyboard with you. Um, and so that's really, that was the whole point of this history lesson, is that by at the time COVID was over, bringing your own keyboard with you to the job is now the norm. And if you don't believe me, you can go watch the recruitment video for Discord, where they actually they have like a 30-second segment on how everybody has different keyboards. The people have got cyberpunk keyboards, people have got keyboards with no things on them, people have got, boring Mac keyboards, people have got everything. And so in 2022, and even more so in 2023, a keyboard has become an expression of identity, like what kind of pants you wear or what your hairstyle is. And to tell you the truth, I'm not opposed to this, because ultimately it's a movement towards the keyboard being embedded in your hands or in your head. At some point, our user interface to the device is going to be highly, highly personal. And I think that that's the movement in the right direction. If it takes gaming, fine. This is the one that I used to try to use back in the 90s. I actually had one like this. I bought one and I immediately got rid of it. I hated it. I hated it. So I absolutely hated this keyboard. Uh, yeah. So yeah, I hated this keyboard. I had it one. I had one. This is really old, actually. You know why I don't like it? Because I don't always use my keyboard. You know those like one-off moments where you just have your one hand with coffee and you have the one hand and you just want to do single typing? I do that quite a bit, and I hate it. If you have a split keyboard like this, unless you're locked and loaded, you're like plugged into your board, alcove, you can't use the thing. You can't use it. It's completely unusable. So that's why I don't like it. I don't like it. It's like, in fact, some of them are so lightweight. Yeah, and some people get hurt by ergonomics. So look, it's a very personal thing, and that's the takeaway of this entire rant. The entire rant is a keyboard is an extremely personal choice, and I think it's wonderful that we can make that choice now where we couldn't before. There was a time when you couldn't use it. And I truly believe that we will see keyboards evolve. We're already seeing this because now you can type in the air and stuff, right? I think that the human computer interface is going to continue to evolve to the point where it'll be so personalized. Eventually, it'll be in your brain. It'll be some chip in your brain or something. Yeah, and I still think you're going to want sensory feedback and stuff like that. But the way things are going, that it will be highly personalized, and it's also safer. I mean, if those clickety clack, ergonomic mechanical keys make you happy while you're sitting for 13 hours a day in front of a computer, then yeah. If those like, annoying, luminous, backgrounds that switch up and everything, if that gives you joy, great. If it gives you joy to like the feel of an old Royal keyboard, even though it's a cyberpunk keyboard, which you've seen these, right? Then great. I don't care. I mean, you really don't have to care. And people get so tribal and mean about with each other about, oh, blues are better than reds and stuff. And I'm like, really? You're going to get tribal over, and you're going to fight over, what keys are better? Who gives a shit? I mean, really? It's like, oh, you use a Mac keyboard, you're less than. Oh, really? Because every journalist, screenwriter, author, and, uh, you know, most developers, particularly in the web world and apps world, use Mac keyboards. And like, so they all suck. That's stupid. It's stupid to be tribal about a keyboard. And so, oh, hey, look, they have a cyberpunk keyboard. Look at that, man. Yeah, you can pop your keys off and everything. Yeah, I have no desire. Those things are just disgusting to me. But people love the customizing their keyboard, man. They love talking about it. And they should. They should be able to. It's like a car. I mean, you have look, the keyboard is probably the piece of technology that you have the most intimate relationship with regularly. There might be other technology that you have a more intimate relationship with on occasion. But this piece of technology, this and the mouse are the most frequently used pieces of technology in your entire life. That and your phone. But for me, the keyboard is way more than the phone. I use the keyboard way more than the phone. Of all the technology in my life, the technology that I use the most every day is the keyboard, hands down. So why not allow an amazing amount of customization? And the price of customization is too high at the moment. Yeah. The fact that it's too expensive to buy a fancy keyboard now, I think that's kind of funny. Oh, look, there's a gaming couch. No. Did you see this? There's a gaming couch. I could get into that. Look at that picture. The couch master. I was sitting at their couch. You'd have such bad swamp ass from that, though. I just could not do that. I mean, I do. I like it, too. I just don't. I don't know. And do you think black... They do work, yeah. Yeah, I had some. I'm actually thinking of getting some more blue light blocking glasses. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have any right now. In fact, I have another free set of glasses to get from my insurance, and I'm gonna get a pair of pseudo sunglasses for computer again. I've had them before. I love them. Not the yellow ones. I want to get something that actually blocks blue light, but also glare, because I stream, and so when I turn the lights on, like right now, I think streaming has really changed the concerns for people with vision, because you have to have pretty decent lighting, especially if you have a bad camera, and like I have that piece of light right up there, and it ends up messing with my pupils and making it very hard. I get headache and stuff. So that's one of the reasons that I stopped. I stream in the dark now, just shamelessly. I don't care. But even in those times when you get a bunch of white, you actually, what you should try? You should try to get what they call computer glasses. If you have enough, money and insurance, you can get a pair of glasses that are specifically designed for focal lengths that are only 2 or 3 feet. And what they do, see, normally when you get 20/20 vision glasses, especially if you have correction, they'll give you 20/20 vision means that you've got really great sight about, you know, about, I don't know, 5 yards out, 6 meters or so out away from you, right? And so that's optimal, right? The optimal vision is that your eyes are at rest when they're looking at something that's pretty much from you across the room, right? And that's when your eyes are at rest. So if you get computer glasses, if you have headaches, um, 10 years old now. Hey, how's it going? So if you get a computer prescription, when you like look up and you look across the room at your wife or something, she'll be fuzzy. But when you're looking at your computer, your eyes are at rest. So they don't, if you have really good glasses and you're looking really close at your screen all the time, your eyes will get really tired because they have to engage muscles to set your pupils to the right, to focus on something that's really close because you're not designed to be focusing on things that are close. And so if you want to, it absolutely works. It absolutely works. You, as soon as you look up across the room at somebody, you're like, I can't see anything, but they're really, really great. Gunner, that's your prescription. Yeah, Gunners is what I had. Yeah. Yeah, I had some Gunners a long time ago, like 2014. I didn't have prescription Gunners though. Yeah, they have the Gunner blue light blocking. Gunners is a brand that gets, overly touted. I don't really think you need blue light blockers. I think, um, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not convinced that they have to be just blue light blockers. I think a slight tint would be good. I mean, here's the thing. I get blasted by white, non-black, non-dark mode stuff all the time. And so you've seen me, I've worn sunglasses, like straight up sunglasses before because, it's just so bad on your eyes to have to go through that. If your eyes are getting used to dark mode and all of a sudden you get one like non-dark mode, that one instant can really screw your eyes up for the rest of the night. And I hate it. I hate it. It's one of the things I want to get around. So that's why I sometimes will literally wear sunglasses to code everything. Uh, because, people think I'm trying to be cool and whatever, but that's not it. I just don't, especially at night. Yeah. Redshift will help a lot. Yeah. Just use dark mode often and use Redshift or alternative help. Yeah, if you want to do that, I don't like messing with the quality of my colors. Um, so yeah, that keyboard is just so lame to me. I mean, I if somebody's gonna go, oh my god, look at how awesome the keyboard is. I do not think it's awesome. And I know Stragger loves it. I love Stragger, but that keyboard he's got, oh my god, I would never torture myself like that. But see, okay, so the argument, and this gets me back to what I was really talking about. Um, the argument against learning a really fancy Dvorak keyboard or a fancy ergonomic keyboard or a different keyboard there and all that has always been, well, what are you going to do when you don't have your keyboard? And the main reason for all that history that I said is that doesn't apply anymore. Because the answer to that now is, well, obviously I'm going to bring my keyboard with me if I go to work. I mean, there's no job on the planet that's going to make you use a specific keyboard except for people that issue laptops. And even then, companies that issue laptops, they're going to let you plug a different keyboard into it if you want to. Now, we've had people on the stream that are like, kicked my butt on Dvorak keyboard when we were doing typing tests. And then they still kicked my butt on a QWERTY keyboard as well. So most of, I also think it's false now. I didn't used to think this, but it's false to say if you learn QWERTY or Dvorak or ergonomic, then you're no longer going to be able to use a QWERTY keyboard. I don't think that's true. It might take you a while to adapt to it, but it's like saying you can't drive a manual transmission versus an automatic, or you can't ride a 10-speed bike. I mean, you can adapt to it, and your muscle memory will kick in. I think once you've learned QWERTY, I would hate to learn Dvorak, or I would hate to learn to type for the first time ever on one of these keyboards. And I think some kids in particular, might end up trying one of these weird ass keyboards and get used to it, and then they, they won't have anything to draw on later, and I think that might be a problem actually. Yeah, you can still ride your motorbike. Yeah, so I don't. I mean, I have no desire to try one. I mean, I'm switching my keywords out all the time because lately, by the way, because my KVM died yesterday. We had our coffee talk yesterday was about how my $350, KVM switch completely went belly up. My Starlink, I'll never buy another one. Apparently they have a lifetime warranty, so I'm gonna call them about that. But it just takes so much hassle to call in and get it. So right at the moment, I actually have two keyboards on my desktop. Both of them are Mac keyboards, and I have a gaming keyboard, which is also a membrane keyboard. This actually is a Red Dragon, and so let me show you this thing for a second. Let me zoom in. This gaming keyboard it's a membrane keyboard. So I did a search. For, and it has color and all that fun stuff, right? I did a search for low travel membrane gaming keyboards, and I wanted to see if anybody actually uses it. Yeah, it's my Dota keyboard, of course. And the truth is they do. There are a number of elite gamers who actually use a low travel membrane keyboard. They do not use a mechanical keyboard. I know, heresy, right? So is it low travel? Is it the Moonlander? Is that low travel? Oh, no, this, God, no, get this away from me. No, this is disgusting. It's not the next generation keyboard. It's disgusting. It's stupid. Muscle memory because habit. Yes. Hey, Barney. I do not like that. Okay, so the only thing I find interesting in this keyboard is allowing your thumb to do different things. I could get into that. That would be the only compelling reason for me to learn this, particularly for gaming. I am not a Leaf gamer. Are you kidding me? No. Casual and proud. That's the t-shirt I want. Does someone have that t-shirt? I'm going to go search for that right now. Casual and proud t-shirt. I'm going to make that t-shirt. No. Stallion? Who's going to actually wear a t-shirt that says Stallion? That's like wearing a t-shirt, like girls that wear the t-shirt that says hottie, or, or they wear like a pendant around their neck with the letters like, DTF or something. Oh, I have to get more coffee. Give me a sec. In case you're wondering what we were looking at, I was looking for t-shirts. This is supposed to be a podcast too, and I just randomly saw a bunch of t-shirts, and oh my God, the things people will put on a t-shirt, I just can't, or that they'll wear on a t-shirt. It doesn't present the price up front. Yeah, they're probably overpriced. Yeah, a nice keyboard with a small height, but a bit more tactile. Yeah, when they have written. Oh yeah, they write when they t-shirts that actually say, "Hey, eyes up here, dude," and then they like wear it really, really tightly, and then they wear a push-up bra and everything else. It's like, don't look at these. Eyes up here. Oh, then why are you wearing that dress? Hello, your dress says, "Look at my boobs." Somebody's gonna call me like a toxic masculinity kind of dude just for saying that. Or a misogynistic asshole just for suggesting that if you don't want us to look at your boobs, don't show them off. Like, it's not, look, you're the one with the dirty mind. Oh, really? You're wearing a fucking bikini halter top right now. What was I supposed to do? Well, that's up to me. I can wear whatever I want. You know what? Fine. You can say that. You can call me whatever you want. I don't care. If you wear, if I look, if you're showing me cleavage purposefully, then I'm gonna look at your cleavage. So there, and my eyes might dwell there for a while. It might be hard for me to talk to you. Does that make me a horrible person? Okay, fine. I mean, it just depends on how, you know. I'm sorry, women. Any females that are watching right now. Look, I'm not telling you that you should wear a burqa. That's not what I'm saying. Okay, don't. Somebody's gonna take this away, and they're gonna be like, "Oh my God, that Artemix Rob asshole thinks that all women should wear burqas so that they don't get sexually stimulated." No, that's not what I'm saying. And by the way, if you can't say eyes up here with a burqa because you can't see your eyes either, they're covered up too, which is also stupid. my boobs, my boobs. How did we get on this? It was the t-shirt thing, right? My boobs are down here. See, now this is the kind of t-shirt that just owns it. You know, look, I don't know. Look, I don't want to get into it, but I don't think there's anything wrong with appreciating male or females who have kept themselves in a state that's worthy of being attracted to them at any age. It's an appreciation of the body. It's not a I want to fuck this, right? That's not what it's about. It's about an appreciation of the human form. That's totally different, by the way. For example, I'm totally obsessed with runners because they're talented, they're elite, and and they look amazing. It's probably the same sort of appreciation that the Romans had, even though they crossed boundaries there and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's the human body. The human body is an amazing, beautiful, cool, amazing, awesome thing. And I think appreciating it's not a big deal, even if there's a tight T-shirt on it. You know what's funny is, I don't know if I should say this. Is when I was Mormon. Okay, I'm gonna get myself in trouble. So, yeah, well, we kind of are. Yeah. Um. So back when I was Mormon, let me see if I can find a picture of this. Uh, Random search. Mormons wearing shirts under blouses. And oh God, I don't think I can show that. Oh, never mind. That I think we passed the TOS on that a little bit, but so we won't search for that. I'm so sorry. But anyway, so you can do your own search. I'm not going to search for it. So in case you're wondering and you're listening to the podcast, I did a search for Mormon clothing, and of course the first thing that popped up was Mormon underwear, which we can't show. And I don't want to get into that. That's that's a very, very sacred thing for Mormons, and this is a suitable for work stream for the moment. Yeah, I'm not going to go to Dennis Land for that. But anyway, that's not actually even what I was looking for. What I was looking for was, let's see if we can find something on like let's search for blouses on Amazon. All right, so blouses. We're gonna search for blouses. Yeah. So here's some beautiful women wearing blouses, right? And but so what I'm trying to, so imagine, okay, so teenage women, young women in the Mormon church, are not allowed to show anything. So like right now, I'm like putting my shirt up here. I'm showing off my guns, right? It's like the only thing I have compared to my gut. But so if I show my guns off by like putting my, this is not allowed because the Mormon underwear, you can't reveal the Mormon underwear. So the dress code for Mormons is you need to cover everything. Okay. So based on that, young women are regularly prompted to wear clothes. All of these blouses, by the way, that you're seeing right now, except for this one, would be wearable by a Mormon. I started seeing, oh God. And so these are all fine, right? Well, young women in particular would want to wear like a halter top or like a sun top sun top women. So they would want to come to church, and so they would wear. I'm trying to find one. What are the God? I don't even know what they are. Like bikini strings. You couldn't wear that, of course. Um, what is it? I don't want to search for bikinis, even though that's not a thing. What is it called? Shoulder. I don't know the words. Shoulder strap. Uh, woman's top with straps. Okay, so none of these, of course, none of these that we're looking at now would be wearable by a Mormon, right? And they're still pretty modest. I mean, look at this one. This is that Jessica Simpson? What the hell? So, you know, no, I'm not searching over there. So, I mean, obviously you couldn't wear this or this or this. Okay, so, but sometimes like a top like that, that's a little bit. Oh, here we go. So this is a good this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so these are like I assume these are nice cute tops. A good excuse. Yeah, I'm shopping for Doris. Mm-hmm. No. So here, look at these beautiful tops. I mean, this woman is absolutely gorgeous. I love her. She's my favorite so far. And you see how they're showing off, they're sleeveless and all that stuff. I'm getting to a point, I promise. And yeah, this one is nice. This is nice and pretty. Um, and but any one of these tops, I mean, this top is very tame. This it's kind of a just to describe it to the podcasting people. It's sleeveless and it's kind of got a square neckline and it doesn't show any cleavage or anything, but it goes down. Um, yeah, I don't know. We're not going to search for that. So and this one has kind of these spaghetti straps or it has kind of an open shoulder line. And women love to wear these. I mean, they look great. I mean, I'm looking at them; they look great too. So the Mormon women they would love to wear these too. So what do? And this is really the whole point of this really long-winded thing. What do? They'll wear tops like this to church. And you're asking, well, Rob, how possibly can they wear those tops? Those are far too risque for a Mormon to wear to church. And you know what they'll do? They'll put on like a super tight undershirt that goes all the way down to their wrists. They'll wear like a skin tight like sweater or or some sort of like top, and they'll wear that underneath. It's not underwear, but they'll wear that underneath stuff like this. Yeah, and that's how they get away with it. And that includes if they want to wear a top that doesn't have. Now, another thing that Mormon women will do all the time is they will tuck in their garments because their garments will show, and so they'll like hike up their garments so that they can wear, a shirt. I mean, this T-shirt that I have right now would probably almost not make it. The biggest problem with once you go through the temple of Mormonism is that you always have to wear a T-shirt under everything you ever wear because you've got to wear your garments. You can never take your garments off. You can take your garments off for swimming and for sex and for sports. Yeah, but that's it. So, what were we talking about? We were looking for T-shirts that had stuff on them, and we got down. We got kind of a rabbit hole on T-shirts. I'm not immune to rabbit holes. That's what Coffee Talk is for. We only have like 10 more minutes, though. Mm. Only a woman can determine what makes a woman. The guy asked her what she thought of cats. Was I assigned partners as a Mormon? No. Mm-mm. Why is Norma wearing these tops? Mormon. Uh, yeah. Anyway, yeah. These are pretty tops, and they're worn by models that are always like the exact same size, which is a thing. But yeah. So anyway, that's why we went with that. We were looking for T-shirts, and we were looking at T-shirts. They said I want a T-shirt that says, casual and proud. That's what I love tracing how my rabbit hole started. That's what happened. We were talking about keyboards, and then we were talking about gaming, and then we were like, oh, elite gamer Rob. I'm like, no, I'm a casual. And then I said, okay, we're gonna go search on the internet for casual and proud. In fact, I'm gonna search on the internet. I'm gonna go back to casual and proud T-shirt, and then I saw all these other stupid T-shirts. Proud of myself for getting out of bed as I have no comment there. I'm proud of myself for getting about too. I guess there's no casual and proud t-shirt. No, there's lots of other t-shirts. So I'm going to make that t-shirt casual and proud. Yeah. Shopping for wifey. I mean, we're kind of shopping for wife. There's so many t-shirts that need to be made though. And we live in a time when you can make a t-shirt, a pretty good t-shirt pretty quickly. Proud Air Force spouse. Welding is like sewing with fire. Oh, my wife would love that one. Am I getting a keyword to improve my Rust coding? No. As you know, Rust is not something that I will ever code in unless it makes sense. Communist and proud. Oh, God. Proud dad. Loud and proud. Where's casual and proud? Where is casual and proud? I mean, come on. I am 107% proud. That means you don't know how to do math. Gamozo's on his way. Well, yeah. He'll have something good to do. Are we going to raid Gamozo? Yeah. Proud brother of a lone soldier. Texas proud. Oh. I'm starting to think that the word proud is associated with extremism. Proud to be gay, black and proud, working class and proud, Polish and proud. You can wear an American flag, which is a violation of the law, but nobody prosecutes it. LGB, FJB, blah, 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 crowd. I mean, I wish they would have. Why do we have to have so many letters? You don't like me because you don't like my letter. You know what? 4 letters maximum, and then put a plus or something. I cannot remember. It's like the other day I was on Twitch and I was like, look, I am not judging that community. I have members of the community in my family, and I am a strong, strong advocate for all of those rights. And the other day I was on Twitch. I was looking at somebody's tag, and I was like, there were at least 6 letters, and then there was a plus after that. So at some point they said, okay, we're going to put a plus here. I'm like, you know what would be really great? If you got, okay, so the one thing about the rights movement, whatever you want to call it, and we're talking about everybody's rights, right? I'm not talking about black rights. I'm not talking about this rights. I'm talking about gay rights. I'm talking about the gender thing. This is the LG, whatever. Is that they have horrible sense of communication. They have no communication skills. So, they whatever. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm not going to say it anymore. I cannot remember the fucking acronym. I can't. Well, if you can't remember the acronym, then you don't care about us as a community. Bullshit. You have a shitty algorithm that's like 8 letters long, and there's no guarantee you're going to add something more to the end of that. I am so upset by the fact that people won't create simple things to remember. If you whatever. I'm sorry. I mean, it reminds me. Look, it reminds me of like like all the Democratic, national candidates that were up there. Was like 35 possible candidates on the stage. I was like, yeah, pick any one of these 35 candidates to run for the Democratic Party. And I'm not Democrat or Republican. So, and I'm like, just simplify things. We're going crazy. I mean, I like choice and all. I don't know. I'm sorry. There's somebody out there who's going to get pissed. There's like an overly sensitive person who's going to say, how dare you criticize the title of our movement? And I'm like, no, you picked the worst possible thing. And like, well, it didn't grow naturally. It was like organic. And we just kept adding more rights to it. We kept adding more and more rights to it. And we have to have everybody included. Okay, fine. You only have 24 letters in the fucking English alphabet. Then what? You're going to like do a hexadecimal thing and add another 10? No, don't time anybody out. National flag on a pole in your house. Ooh, I like that. Don't. We're not attacking people here. Okay, we're attacking an acronym. Okay, we're not attacking people. We're attacking a shitty acronym, and if indirectly. The decision. I mean, who even decided what the acronym was? Was there like a committee? Was there like a group of people that came together and said, this is the most complicated algorithm, the acronym we're ever going to have. We're going to have this huge fucking acronym, and we're going to make. Did somebody actually put some thought into this? Because I can't even tell you what it is. So honestly, I mean, this is going to make me sound like a horrible person, but all I remember is LGBTQ. Did I get it right? Did I get it right? Let's go look this up. Let's go look this up. And by the way, this is not a criticism. This is a criticism of the acronym, and this is a suggestion whereby we can create an acronym that supports, everybody, and so that everybody's tech systems won't have to change to add a new tag every year when you decide there's another new group that needs to be represented that's not in the thing. Because God help you if you say all people should have equal rights, because we don't want to say that. Right? Because we need to specialize like everybody's particular tribal rights that they need, because so many people have been disenfranchised. And it's true, they have been disenfranchised, but now we're going to we're going to add another one. Okay. Well, Mormons have been disenfranchised. Let's put an M in there. Okay. Well, how about, anytime I talk like this, though, somebody's going to get so mad at me because they're going to say, "How dare you minimize the plight of my community over forever," right? And I'm not doing that at all. That's not what I'm doing. I mean, Hasidic Jews, they think they're persecuted. I mean, we've got, any particular religious organization. It's like this. Do I think that we need to identify with a particular culture and tribe and background and race and species and gender and identity? Yes, we do. We definitely need to do that. But if we, and I just don't know how. I mean, the craziness of this acronym is a perfect example of where this keeps going. So many people think that their particular community's rights have been stomped on, and they have been. They have been. As a yeah, but see, you be careful. You say that, you're going to get canceled. More than canceled. People will come like break your windows down. Anyway, so what I want to say about this is okay. Let me just do a basic search. What is the most respectful acronym for LGBTQ? Did I get that right? I can't even tell you what they all mean. Oh my God. This is the new one. Twitch is going to cancel me for saying this. I swear to God. Look, I am not, whoever's watching this right now, I desperately and strongly advocate for the rights of the people represented here. But I cannot tell you who those people are because the groups keep changing. There's like an additional group all the time. And I am sincerely looking to understand who's even being represented by this diversity acronym. I don't even know who's being represented by it now because the acronym changes every fucking week. So it's like, and if I criticize the algorithm, I indirectly am criticizing the movement. What's wrong with LBG? Because I can't say it. I can't tell you what it all means. By the way, you got it wrong. 5-shot. Sorry, you suck. I'm almost done. I'm not ready to talk yet. I'm going to pick on 5-shot. 5-shot's one of my favorite community members. This is nothing personal. Okay. But 5-shot took a stab at the acronym and left out a letter and typed LGBTQ plus, right? And I know that there's some version of it that has the plus at the end. But apparently here, according to this internet search, no, I'm going back to this. I'm going to stay on this. We're going to die on this hill today. So here we have LGBTQ plus. Okay. So, and I think that that's the standard one. And I want everybody with respect to look at this acronym and understand the people that are in there. So here we go. LGBTQIA. Look at this one this one's LGBTBIQ. This one's LGBTQIA plus. And this is not people mocking the acronym. This is people within the community trying to push their version of the acronym. I have no idea why. Right? Is that a pipe? Is that a pipe? I mean, and then you have this diagram, which is interesting. I want to look at this actually. I'm sincerely seeking to understand. I really am. I am not criticizing. I'm criticizing the fucking acronym, which is stupid. It's stupid. I hate it. I hate the acronym. The acronym is a perfect example of foolishness in the face of a good cause. And you can't criticize some of the stupid decisions. Like, I hate the decision to use they them for because I'm a linguist, and I think that we lost an opportunity there to really expand our language in an amazing way. And instead, we just made they and them much more confusing. So everything is they and them now, and that's what I do, by the way. When I refer to anybody, I use they and them now. To me, that's my unified way to refer to people as they and them. And I think referring to somebody as they and them is far less offensive than not calling a she or a her, or somebody who wants to be called her or she. I think guessing, if you're going to guess today, the best way to guess is to use they, because you can get away with that because they does not necessarily associate sex to anything. And the whole idea of having gender in our language is totally fucked up anyway. And that does need to change. We do need to fix that. I like the acronym tech too. Yes. Even gays and lesbians don't like the acronym. See, that's the thing. See, and the problem with diversity and pushing for diversity is that, in some sense, by definition, it means that consensus is bad, right? And I don't agree. I think that's the whole argument I'm making about the Democrats. I mean, we have at the election we had all of these Democrats representing different factions within the Democratic Party, and zero consensus about what should be represented. Now, two-party politics is the devil. We all know that. That's what's caused all our problems. Most of our problems is two-party politics. But then you get the opposite of that, which is no consensus. So diversity does not have to mean we have no consensus, right? It's like, Obama said, he's like, we are Americans. We're not, this or that or that. It was like toward, and not in a communist way, and kind of anyway, consensus is not a bad thing. Community is not a bad thing. Learning to live together and get along with each other, like so many people in New York have learned to do. One-party politics, I agree. Two-party politics, I think I would rather have 15 parties. I'd rather not have any parties. But one of the casualties, unfortunately, of diversity, and it's just something we have to accept and deal with, is that consensus becomes the devil, right? And that individualism and identity becomes paramount over consensus, and that's totally fine. But we're just going to get in trouble. Yeah. So okay. So let's actually seek to understand, which is why I'm here. I'm not here to make fun of anything. I'm here, except for the acronym. I fucking hate it. I'm here to understand who's represented in this acronym that I can never remember. So LGBT. And by the way, if I put a tag for this on my stream, does that mean that I don't like IRSSL? I use WeChat. It's BitchX. LGBTQIA. 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 I'm going to say it until I memorize it. LGBTQIA. LGBTQIA is an acronym that collectively refers to individuals who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual. Which is good. I'm glad they put the I in there, because I think intersex should have been the first thing, firstly. Because the intersex community is the one that convinced me to stop being Mormon. I know there's a lot to unpack in that statement, and maybe I'll give you the short version. It was called BitchX before, and then WeChat became the next version. The intersex. I want to talk about this first. I mean, I'm not shying away from a tough topic. Okay, I really feel like the intersex community should have been represented above all of the other communities myself. And I know we're not supposed to pick one or choose the other one, but for me, it was becoming familiar with the intersex community that caused me to leave the dogmatic, horribly repressive doctrines of the Mormon Church with regard to sexuality and gender, because it was physical. All right. So if you are a uh, Mormon, you're taught in canon that, there's men and there's women, there's nothing else. And that's the doctrine. And it's scientifically, overwhelmingly, objectively, provably wrong. Totally. And a surgeon friend of mine who finally left the church after a long time, uh, uh, there are, XXY, there's tons of physical manifestations of gender, physical gender manifestations that are and if you watch Intersex, which is a really great documentary on this, there's people that are born with both sets of parts. There's people that are born with embedded ovaries they don't realize until they're teenagers. There's people that are, born with any variation of gender in between, really easily defined male and female, indeterminate gender, whatever you want to call it. Since 20, I know, intersex has been around forever. So why is this my favorite of the acronyms? It's not because I'm intersexed. I mean, I would tell you if I was, but if it's because that is the easiest one to make a case for. And that is so bad for me to say, because I know somebody's going to be offended by that statement. But to my Mormon stupid brain from before, because I was taught that lesbianism and homosexuality were learned behaviors, right? And if you study, Skinner or anybody, you realize that there are certain behaviors that are learned. There's learned behaviors, and then there's innate behavior, and you know what I mean. And so, if you accept that the science of psychology or whatever has opinions about homosexuality and things like that, and sexual attraction and all of those things, that those are things that happen inside of your brain, then if you're a Mormon, the argument that these things are learned behaviors, that they are choices, you choose to be homosexual, which I do not believe at all. But the case to make that is, it's a tougher fight to have, right? Because now you're arguing about neurological science and stuff like that, and there are very scientific studies that have come out that said that no, there's a significant portion of people who are born gay. There may be a number of people who choose it, and there's some, is it influenced by lifestyle? And there was a very famous study. They took twins, and they raised one of them as male and one of them as female, and the one that they raised against their gender ended up killing himself. But they swept it under the rug and they hid it because it was a famous study. They actually cover this in Intersex. But the 1950s medical scientist was trying to make the point that you can be taught through your upbringing, who you're going to love, and it's total bullshit. Now, I still believe that there is a spectrum, and that there are probably people who, for whatever reason, cultural or otherwise, choose to love in a specific way. And it's really none of our business to decide how somebody loves somebody else. That's stupid, right? You should be able to choose that if you choose to. That's what. But if you're trying to make the case to somebody who's been taught that God sends people to earth as male or female, if you're trying to address that population, then that population, I think, is most easily swayed by the absolute overwhelming physical evidence of God sending people to earth with no gender at all, or some variation of intersex gender that is so confusing for that person. And you combine that with the doctrine that you can't get to heaven until you get married and know what your gender is. God help you if you marry the wrong person. And that destroyed my faith in the Mormon church. That one thing absolutely, totally tanked my ability to believe that any of this stuff that I had learned when I was, there was a lot of other stuff too, but that one thing was the realization that there is no way that this is true. There is no way that this doctrine is from God. There's no way. It's just completely nonsensical. And after I saw the Intersex documentary, I was like, I can, the stuff about the psychology of attraction and stuff. Yeah, there's room for debate in there, but there is absolutely zero room for debate when you're sent with ovaries and a penis to earth. What are you going to say? God screwed up? You can't say that and then also say that, you know, that gender identity is a part of your eternal progression. Men are supposed to do this and women are supposed to do this. Whenever somebody makes an argument to me, like, or when I hear arguments in the popular media about sexuality and about gender, and they say, well, God said man and a woman. He didn't create Steve or, you know, the gay guy. And I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about. They have no idea. They just don't. They're speaking from total ignorance. It's not that they're trying to be mean. They're me. They're me back when I was Mormon. Because even though we may have made fun of Pat, you guys remember Pat from Saturday Night Live? We used to make fun of Pat all the time. We used to make fun. We laughed our asses off at Pat. And Pat is an intersexed individual, probably. And we laughed our asses off at Pat in SNL. And the popular culture in Saturday Night Live, probably the most progressive liberal thing you'll ever see. And we made fun of intersex people on SNL. Because we just had no clue as a populace about the possibility. And it turns out, after you watch intersex, that there's a much higher percentage of people that come to this earth without knowing. In fact, in the Native American cultures, they are revered. They're immediately turned into medicine people. And, you know, there's cultures have been dealing with this since the dawn of time. And only now are we realizing that not only is it not blue or pink, you know, in our head, but physically there's a lot of no such thing as blue and pink. There just isn't. And so we need to represent it. So I started out kind of making fun of the acronym, but I want people to understand that this is a really big deal. And you know, the fact that they added I finally is kind of dick-ishness. I mean, I'm using a kind of a horrible crass thing to say there, but I feel like the I should have been first. It's like, okay, well, now we're represented, right? But so I don't know. I'm gonna start using this acronym now. That's the takeaway. Yeah. And by the way, we used to say hermaphrodite, right? So that's the term that we used to say, and that's not the acceptable term today. And because it's just not accurate, right? It's not accurate, right? An intersex person is someone who's born with both sets of genitalia, and they are. They are. Do I know somebody who's personally intersexed? No. You know what though? This is gonna sound crass, and it's gonna raise some eyebrows, but there are a lot of people who are intersexed who don't even know they're intersexed, and if they were able to talk about it openly, you got to see the documentary. That you'll laugh, you'll cry. It's so wonderfully made. So it's called Intersection, I think. Nope, that's not it. I think maybe it's intersexed. Is that it? Their gender, them. There it is. Intersection. It is. Okay. Intersection. So this is it. It's actually free for you to watch. And they have shown, is this room? Yes. I mean, if you're going to, we got to be careful because the conversations we're going to have about this are going to get sexual. There's just no way around it. But I rather than getting into that, I think you should probably watch Intersection. This is a documentary that is absolutely so well made because it treats the issue with as to Tao as possible. Yeah. So it treats, I mean, just watch it. Just watch. If you care to understand it, watch it. So this has been me going down a journey that ultimately has ended in me starting out complaining about an acronym and then realizing that we are fluid and balanced. Yeah, we are. We absolutely are. And I think that it actually has a lot to do with what's going on in the bigger picture. I personally don't know, and I don't think anybody can know, but I personally think that existence is about recycling. And if you want to call it reincarnation, fine. I think that in order to, religions and stuff, they teach you that religion is, Mormons anyway, the religion is about learning to become a god, as Mormons would teach you. You have to learn everything. You have to understand everything. Well, you can't, the best way to learn things is to experience things, right? And you can't experience everything there is to know about being a woman without being a woman. You can't experience everything there is to know about being a fly or a bug without being a fly or a bug. So I honestly don't know if there's anything going on. I'm more agnostic. I don't have any idea. But of all of the things that make the most sense logically to me, the idea that we would continue to recycle and try different things and come back in different forms and is the most logical way to progress, because that is the way that I see being able to experience the most things. And by the way, there's Mormons who believe this, high-ranking Mormons who taught us this on my mission. Members of the Quorum of the 70, the first Quorum of the 70, they would come and they would talk about it, and they would talk about multiple baptisms, and they were talking about resurrection, but they didn't dare say it that way. I mean, about infinite learning and stuff like that. So, and that possibly means coming back to Earth, as intersex, if this is even a place that's considered. I mean, it's just so much to consider here. But the more complicated acronym is LGBTQQIAAP. Oh my God. And then there's even more. LGBT is the one that I did originally remember. Anxious about saying the wrong thing. Yeah, I am actually. That's why I'm here. Lots of us talk as little as possible about issues of sexuality and gender. The glossaries that help us make conversation interesting. Dilute it into nothingness. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Because there's not a group here that I don't think needs to be here. And yes, I have my favorite. I don't know anybody who's intersex, and I am not intersex, but this is my favorite one because this one helps me really distill the conversation for people when we're talking about it. Particularly for people that are conservative who believe that people are sent to Earth as male and female, because it's just not fucking true. You are not physically sent to Earth as male or female. There's millions of people who have come to this Earth not knowing their gender physically. And the stories that they have defy any doctrine that says otherwise. Now, a lot of these other ones are harder because pansexuality, law of attraction, that kind of thing, they do represent different kinds of things. I did a whole video on that, Barney. Yeah, go back and look at the Boost video. I did 4 hours on tmx.com. If you look at the Boost stuff, yeah, so bang Boost, we'll go look at that. This has been a good conversation. I'm even if I'm just like, I told you, Coffee Talk is for me to soapbox a little bit, and I definitely have. So they did add pansexual, which is cool. A lot of people call themselves pansexual. Some of my family have decided that they are asexual. What's an ally? Typically non-queer person who supports and advocates for the queer community. An individual within the LGBTQ plus community. See, I don't like that they cut it off at plus. I wish they had an I in there. LGBTQI plus. I'm going to put the I in there. Apparently I have the choice to do that, because if you put the plus at the end, that means you're not saying, as pansexual, Brent Ozar. Yeah. You know what? The thing a lot of conservatives, I'm not picking on conservatives here, but open a pull request. I know. A lot of people are saying, well, all of a sudden everyone's, doing all these other things. I think that people, it's not an explosion of new identities and people saying, oh, look, I have a menu of things to pick from now. Well, let me see which one I am. You may be like all of the things. I mean, this stuff is totally fluid, even within the community, like within the lesbian and the gay community, there's some animosity, I understand, between them and the bisexual community, because they're like, how can you be bisexual? It's either one or the other. Even between these communities, there's some tension. I guess you're probably not a fan of Dave Chappelle. I mean, just like anyone, there's some things Dave Chappelle says that are really crazy ass funny, and there's other things that are wicked stupid. Am I a fan of Martin Luther King Jr.? Hell yeah. Am I a fan of his serial adultery behind the scenes while he was preaching to everybody else? No. Am I a fan of Richard Stallman? Yes, except for Emacs. Am I a fan of his pedophilia apologist nature, or he's, protecting pedophiliacs or pedophilia? No. Do I think Thomas Jefferson was one of the most important people who ever lived? Yes. Did he own 800 slaves? Yes. Do I like Jordan Peterson's focus on morality and responsibility? Hell yeah. Do I like him attacking people for being fat on a cover of a swimsuit magazine? Fuck no. So each person, when you ask me, am I pro so and so or pro or anti so and so, it's more important that I think that we get down to specific things about those people, because you can't just. I know Emacs. Emacs, we love and hate Emacs. I actually tried Emacs. It's not relevant for what I do. If you're going to sit at the same computer all day, yeah, right. But people get tribal, and that's the one thing that we all agree on, I think. Every person is a mixed bag, and they're going to have good and bad things. If you were to look at me before I got divorced, but they don't love me. That's interesting. What did I wake up to? Hey, Matt. Probably a conversation. We were having fun. We were looking at t-shirts, and there was an there's an LGBTQ t-shirt, and I was like, can we just get a fucking acronym that we can all use? And then it became kind of a journey down, we want to represent everybody, but we need a better acronym. And that this is the actual acronym. So, and I am not laughing at any one group. And then I saw the I in the group, which is a really important one for me, not because I'm intersex, but because this is the one that led to me believing, as I do, that all people matter, or whatever you want to say. I can't even say that, because the Black Lives Matter people get mad at me for saying that, because they've associated all lives matter with white assholes, and that's not at all what I'm saying. That's not. So yeah, the very, 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 very rough political positions to talk about, and I don't shy away from them. I do think we need to talk about them. It's missing 2S. Yeah, there's probably some more stuff that's even missing from this here. Yeah. So anyway, I just realized Chris switched to being female. No. Yeah, she definitely goes by her. That's her pronouns for sure. Chris, yeah. Yeah, Chris is definitely a her. And she said so many times. So when in doubt, my takeaway on the whole pronoun thing is just use they, and then until somebody corrects you, and then I use her. I think it's more insulting to, even though Trump doesn't care. Did you see Trump call that woman a man? Like double down on, oh, you have such a wonderful voice for a man. There's like a clip of this, like this week. I felt so sorry for her. And she just, and she's like, I don't care what he calls me. He can call me anything. I love him. But he was like, man, you got such a nice, smooth voice for a man. Blah, blah, blah. It's just like, but it's part of the problem. Right now you look at somebody and you don't know what they are. And that's wonderful, honestly. I like it. I like that we're not looking at each other to see what gender they're on. I like it. I want to live in a world where if I look at somebody and I find you attractive, that I don't give a crap about anything else. And I don't have to. I don't have to overthink it. I don't have to, all the jokes that have been made. I don't. If I'm attracted to you, I'm attracted to you. I don't have to think about anything else. And that's it. Have you seen the GameStop video of a cashier saying something like, "Can I help you, sir?" And the person went crazy in the store screaming about being a woman. Yeah. That's fucked up. But the reason that's fucked up is because our language has been so, gender specific for so long. Someone tries to help out, Do you know how many times I've been called sir and been offended because they're calling me sir because of my age? Think about that for a second. People get our language should not have anything about identity in it. I'm sorry, it shouldn't. Our language should be completely, other than subjects. It should not have gender in it. It should not have identity at all. And I cannot wait. Yeah. You get Sir at 33. I know. So I mean, it's the South, right? But the first time I went, to say, oh, I mean, it's a true story, and I'll end on this. This is a positive note. So believe it or not, I am, the target of whatever you want to call it, right? Microaggressions. How about that? Microaggressions, right? And I'm not trying to downplay anybody else's microaggression, but I'm gonna tell you about mine. Okay. So I am an old man, according to most people, because I have gray beard. I could probably, run a mile faster than most of the people that are checking me out. And I mean, like at the store, not, my ass or something. So anyway, so I regularly ride my skateboard, and those of you who know me know I do this, right? So I used to go to Food Lion across the street, in the parking lot, and I would ride my skateboard because I was really fast. I go grab some tomatoes or whatever for my wife, and she, hey, go get us some water. So I would go to the Food Lion, and I'd take my skateboard in, and sometimes I take my skateboard to the checkout stand, and sometimes I wouldn't. Sometimes I just put it by the store, the gumballs at the front of the store or whatever, and I would take my skateboard in, and I would go through the checkout counter, and no kidding, this actually happened once. So there was like a 16, 17-year-old, something, maybe 18, and she was a girl, and I went as far as I could tell, right? So I went up to the checkout stand, and she goes, okay, that'll be such and such, sir. And she called me sir, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'm sir. I mean, I've gotten used to sir in the South, and I justify it as not being an age thing because everybody calls everybody sir or ma'am here, right? And honey, by the way. Okay, honey. I was like, okay, it was weird, but it's the South, right? So, I mean, you could be, everybody's honey. So, but it got interesting because she like, it's like, then she's like, so is that skateboard yours? And she said it just like that. And I was like, yeah, that's my skateboard. I mean, anybody else walk in there with a skateboard, they'd be like, the guy has a skateboard. They wouldn't say anything. And so I'm like, okay. And she says to me, something to the effect of, oh, that's so cool. And she looked at me like this, like, that's so cute. That's so cool. And I'm like, why? She's like, I mean, I just think it's so cool that you ride a skateboard. I'm like, okay, do you say that to everybody who brings a skateboard into the store? I didn't say that. I wanted to say that. Instead, I said, oh, thank you. And she's like, oh my God, this old man is riding a skateboard. It's so cute. I was like, okay, it's a positive feeling she's having here, but like, what the hell? Longboards, I know. And so she's like, it's like, oh my God, this like slightly portly old gentleman who, has something of a beard, rides his skateboard. Oh my God, that's so cute. Good for you. Good for you. You go get him, Grandpa. I was just like, she didn't even realize that it was slightly weird, I mean, and that is so minor. It's like such a non-thing. I mean, it was just funny, but it is like one of the ways I can relate to microaggressions. Can you imagine not knowing what my gender was, or maybe thinking I was mentally retarded or something? There's a million other more horrible things that could have happened there. But it's there's two reasons for this little story. One of them is she had the best of intentions. And I really think that we need to do that. I think that we need to assume the best of those people, of anyone. I don't. I fail all the time. But I think we need to assume the best on their part. We have to say, this person is trying to be nice, and they're doing their best. And are they making me feel a little uncomfortable because they're recognizing my age and suggesting, stuff like that? It's a wheelchair for you, sir. Exactly. Well, I have this instead of a wheelchair. That would have been that's the proper response. Well, my wheelchair was back I left my wheelchair at home, so I just had this. That would have been a great one. And that would have pissed her off and made her sad. That would have made her really sad. Because then she would have realized that she had offended me, and she wasn't intending to offend me at all. Her intention was to compliment me. And believe it or not, you can hate Trump all you want, and I do. But thank you, disarms, exactly. But when Trump was like complimenting this woman who was actually a man who was actually a woman, yeah, he's a conniving, person, but he was at least in that moment trying to compliment her, even though it was a man that he thought. So I think if part of this problem is that, like that, this has come about because of that conversation about someone getting cold sore over a counter and the person freaking the fuck out on them. We have to give people the benefit of the doubt. They're trying. People are generally not assholes. I don't think. I need to tell myself this all the time, but I generally think that they, deep down inside, most people will try to do the right thing. And if you assume that they're trying that and they're getting it wrong, maybe they had a bad day and they're like kind of pissy about it. There's other people that are just total straight up racists and ageist and shit like that. And they like revel in the fact that they are that kind of evil, and that exists. But this kind of young woman did not care that, she's, she was trying to say the nice thing. Most hated men in New York. I have not. No, most people are okay. I hope they get the joke. Yes. So I just said thank you and just, went about my way and make jokes about my age and stuff. I've tricked people. I've tricked 20 somethings into having sex with me because they thought I was 30. And that's a story for another day. That's a story for another day. And I didn't even lie. We just didn't talk about age until the next day. And then we laughed about it. Yeah, that is a story for another day. That is one of the many stories that I could tell about when I was 42 after my divorce. I dated several 20 somethings because I was an idiot. And yeah, oh, sorry. I mean, the picture of me and my Twitch, yeah, that's for late night. The picture of me and my Twitch is I got really, really great in shape. I cut my hair short enough so that people wouldn't know. I shaved my beard. And it wasn't with the intent of having sex with 20 somethings. It just turned out that happened. No, do we really need to talk about this? 22, 21. There's no, I think she was 28 actually. So that's 3 girls in their 20s that I dated during that. I'm not proud of it. Look, I don't want you to take this away. Somebody's going to hear this and they're thinking this guy's bragging about his sexual escapades with 20 somethings after his divorce. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm telling you is that age is a number, and that like Matt has just said at the same time as me, and that people do not care. By the way, I also had sex with people that were older than me, which, can we not talk about this? Okay, another day. We'll do After Dark on this. So, no, not that old. No. Would I have? Yeah. So I'm just trying to say that 6 is a number, and is like, how do you even really know, right? You just want the pointers. That is definitely a conversation for another day. Maybe watch the QCA on the weekend when I get a little bit of vodka in me. We can go through the foibles of my post-divorce, self-pity. The one thing, the number one, statistically, the number one quality that, according to the objective studies that I read at the time, that women want is abs. There you go. I'll give you that one for free. So they want someone they can talk to, and they want abs. So if you want to, like, take your incel number down and turn your Chad number up, that's what you do. Work on your abs. Abs is the single most universally attracted to thing by all sexes, frankly. So anyway, I don't know. There's something physical about it. You agree with that? Yeah. It's even more than arms or chest or any of this stuff. I mean, I thought for sure that was going to be it. It's not. It's abs. There's something about abs, and I don't have abs. No, you don't walk around with your shirt off. But yeah. Anyway, I have stories there I don't want to talk about. Abs and confidence. Yeah, abs and confidence. Yeah. Teresa, it's not crazy. Yeah. It's the cross fix at the core. It really is. It really is. And I'm not. My abs are a total mess right now. But both my wife and I had great abs when we met, and yeah. It's not late enough. It's the morning. We're not supposed to talk about that. But speaking of wives, I want to go talk to mine over a little bit of coffee before I get going on my work day. And I hope you all have a great work day. I think abs are actually, you know what they are? Abs tell you a lot of story. Abs tell a story about willpower. They tell a story about confidence. They tell a story about, how much you hate yourself because that's a quote from Happy-ish, which is an amazing series. How much do you have to hate yourself to look like this, right? Really chiseled and everything, because you have to spend an hour or two a day to stay looking like that. Do you think Chris Hemsworth looks like that all the time? No, the guy spends fucking like 2.5 hours in the gym every day. You know, if that's your priority, and it was at the time, it was kind of my priority. 37 minutes over raid time. Who are we going to go raid? Who are we going to go raid? Do we have a raid? All right, bye, YouTube.